Imagine this. You're standing at gate 23 in a tiny tropical airport. The flight board says, departing soon, which on the island could mean in 5 minutes, 5 hours, or after the pilot finishes his cup of joe. The air smells like sunscreen, lime, and a hint of jet fuel. The fans overhead twirl like they're pacing themselves for retirement. Around you, everyone's restless. Families juggling toddlers, couples whispering sharp words they think no one can hear. Solo travelers staring at phones like the Wi-Fi signal is going to save their lives. And here's the kicker. None of you are getting off this island without each other. The gate agent holds the keys, sure, but in the meantime, it's the strangers beside you who decide whether this wait feels like a sentence or a story.
That right there is life. It's not just about where you're headed, it's about who's beside you at the gate.
Welcome to the Latitude Adjustment, the podcast where aging isn't a slow fade. It's a bold, freaking encore. Join Rusty and Erica, two rebel-hearted guides with a suitcase full of stories, a camera, a compass, and zero tolerance for boring self-help. They're not here to fix you. They're here to remind you, you were never broken. So whether you're craving clarity, connection, or just a passport stamp for your next chapter, you've docked at the right port. Grab your sun hat, loosen your grip on the grind, and get ready to chart a new course. Mind, body, and soul. This is the Latitude Adjustment.
Welcome back, Aging Heroes. Today, we're diving into day 21 of A Guide for Aging Heroes, Do Relationships Right.
And to get there, we're going to walk back through one of the messiest, most stressful, and somehow most grace-filled trips we've ever taken.
I can't believe we're going to share this stuff.
It was our chaotic journey to the Satsang Project retreat in Costa Rica.
Otherwise known as
the Standby Miracle. It started bad.
I'm laughing now. I was not laughing then.
Let's just say it started terrible.
There you go.
We had a fight the night before.
It was a doozy.
It was a doozy. And let me tell you, we rarely have conflict, but we had conflict the night before. And yes, I take full responsibility. Your boy here was 100% at fault. But then came the gut punch.
Here it goes.
Erica double-checked the itinerary and discovered our flight was at 11 a.m. and not 1 p.m. Now, let me tell you, our flight leaves from Charlotte, which is over an hour drive from our hometown of Morganton. It was 9:30 when we made this discovery.
Let me just say, if you've ever seen two middle-aged people try to move like Marvel superheroes, that was us. We threw our bags in the car, drove 90 miles an hour to Charlotte International Airport, flashers and all, parked like we were fleeing a crime, and literally sprinted into the terminal.
We got to the counter, and then, doom. The baggage check had closed at exactly 10:04 a.m.
Tell them what time we arrived, Rusty, at the baggage counter.
We arrived at exactly 10:04 a.m. No kidding. They closed the gate. We were standing there as they closed the gate. It felt like life itself was wagging its finger at us.
I teared up. Not that mascara running, ugly, sobbing kind. Just that quiet in the depth of your gut. Is this really happening kind?
Then, out of nowhere, that same clerk that closed the baggage check softened. She found us standby tickets through Miami.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't guaranteed.
Right.
It wasn't glamorous.
Didn't matter.
But it was connection.
You got it.
And connection was enough to keep us in the game.
From there, it was a small series of relational miracles. You know, the TSA agent who cracked a joke right when we were unraveling. The gate agent who winked at me like we were co-stars in a rom-com.
The flirty gate agent who winked at you.
The cute gate agent that winked at me. The stranger who shuffled his seat so that you and I could sit together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each connection was a bridge. And when we finally stumbled into San Jose at 10 o'clock that night,
And stumble we did.
we were exhausted, messy, humbled, but we realized the trip hadn't been about the destination. It had been about the people who carried us through the chaos.
That's the heartbeat of Do Relationships Right. Relationships aren't accessories. They're survival gear. Research shows loneliness can be as deadly as smoking a pack a day or living with untreated high blood pressure.
Which means connection isn't just about feeling good. It's about staying alive. Our bodies, our spirits, our minds, they literally depend on being held, seen, and known.
And yet, most of us treat relationships like they're optional, like we'll get around to them once the calendar clears up, once the to-do list shrinks, once the stress lets up. But I'm going to tell you, if our Costa Rica trip taught us anything, it's that relationships don't wait for perfect timing. They happen in the chaos, at the gate, at the baggage counter, in the middle of conflict.
Let's be honest. Doing relationships wrong is easy. All it takes is a little self-absorption, a little impatience, and maybe some bad Wi-Fi connection.
Or maybe a husband who forgets to double check the itinerary.
Touche, baby.
Doing relationships right takes more. It means slowing down enough to notice the person beside you, listening even when you're really, really exhausted, offering grace when the timing's off. It means remembering that every person, spouse, stranger, clerk at the desk, they all carry the potential to change your whole story.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's like being on standby. You don't know if you'll get a seat. You don't know if the flight will be on time. But if you hold on to the connections, if you choose trust over tantrum, miracles can sneak in through the side door.
On the island, we've got this saying, you can't paddle a canoe alone if you're carrying a cooler.
It's a weird saying, baby.
How about you just break it down into plain language? Rest.
All right. Translation. Life's too heavy to haul by yourself. You need someone else in the boat.
And not just anyone, you guys. The right people. People who'll laugh when you, miss the flight. People who'll cry when life says, shh, sorry, too late. People who will push you to keep going when you'd rather just throw in the towel.
Doing relationships right doesn't mean perfection. It means partnership. It means choosing connection even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's inconvenient.
Let's take a pause here and do a quick recap. So here's where we've landed so far. Relationships aren't background music. They're the whole soundtrack.
Doing relationships right means choosing connection over isolation, grace over blame, patience over panic.
It means remembering that the people beside you, at home, at work, at the gate, aren't interruptions to your journey. They are the journey.
So the next time life shuts the counter at 10:04 a.m., remember, you're not meant to get through it alone. The miracle is usually found in the connection.
Stick around, Aging Heroes, because in segment 2, we'll introduce your Aging Heroes Challenge, a simple, powerful way to practice doing relationships right this week. Think of it as your connection carry-on, light enough to take anywhere, strong enough to change everything.
And who knows, maybe it'll even earn you a wink from that flirty gate agent.
Stick around. So, Rusty, let's talk about this. It's one thing to say, do relationships right, but it's another thing to actually do it.
Right. Because if relationships came with an instruction manual, half of us would have already lost it by now, probably somewhere between Concourse B and Concourse C.
And the other half would have just used it as a coaster for their rum punch.
Exactly. So what does it look like practically? Not just on the big stage like weddings, funerals, and dramatic movie moments, but in the everyday chaos, in the missed flights, in the text we forgot to send, in the silences that grow longer than they should.
That's where the Satsang trip comes back in. Because if you really think about it, every single thing that saved that journey, it wasn't logistics, it wasn't luck, it was people, connection. One soft-hearted clerk, one playful gate agent, one partner, me and you, who eventually chose laughter over lingering blame.
You telling me that you got rid of that lingering blame?
I'm telling you that if you don't check the itinerary next time, I'm going to make a phone call to the winking agent.
Oh my God.
The truth is, relationships are the carry-ons that keep us flying. They're what you can't afford to check, can't afford to lose, can't afford to leave behind.
Here's where I think most of us get tripped up. We think relationships have to be perfect or polished.
Yeah, but doing them right doesn't mean never having conflicts. It just means that in the middle of the conflict, fight fair. It doesn't mean never messing up. It means owning your mess ups.
It doesn't mean showering people with gifts. It means showing up. A phone call, a hug, hey, I was thinking about you.
It doesn't mean adding 1,000 acquaintances. It means deepening the ones that you already have, asking questions, actually listening to the answers.
Doing relationships right is not a numbers game. It's a presence game.
Exactly. And presence, it's portable, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, sure.
You can carry it anywhere. Airport, office, living room, jungle retreat.
You ever notice how on an island, people know each other's business within about 5 minutes?
Oh, absolutely. You ask a question like, where's the best place for ceviche? And suddenly, you know who's dating whose cousin owes money.
It's hilarious, but it's also wisdom. Islands teach us that life works better when we're woven together. Even with all the gossip, there's this unspoken understanding we need each other.
Which makes me wonder, how different would our communities feel if we lived like that?
Yeah.
If we believed our survival depended on connection, not just competition.
Probably a lot fewer lonely people scrolling through Facebook at 2 a.m. and a lot more porch lights left on for neighbors.
Doing relationships right means building an island, even in the middle of a busy, disconnected world.
It's time for the Aging Heroes Challenge of the Week. Your connection carry-on. Here's the idea. Just like you never leave for a trip without your essentials, your phone charger,
Clean underwear, Rusty?
you shouldn't move through life without a connection carry-on.
So this week, we want you to pick one relationship that matters to you. Not all of them, not every Facebook friend, just pick one.
Maybe it's your spouse, your grown kid, your best friend, or even that coworker who's been drifting away.
Then here's the challenge. Do one intentional act to strengthen that bond.
And it doesn't have to be grand. You're not proposing marriage at the baggage carousel. You're sending a note, making a call, setting aside time. Maybe it's 15 uninterrupted minutes where you actually look them in the eye and say, tell me how you're doing.
Or maybe it's forgiveness, saying, hey, I know we fought last night, but I need you to know that you're important to me and I love you.
Maybe it's gratitude, saying thank you for being my gate agent of grace.
That's how you do relationships right. One intentional act at a time.
Here's the magic. When you do this, you're going to feel lighter, like you've put down some emotional baggage.
And the person you connect with, they'll feel seen And that changes everything because loneliness isn't cured by crowds. It's cured by connection.
And connection, once you choose it, multiplies. One call leads to another. One hug turns into a habit. One act of kindness ripples out into 100 miracles.
That's why we're calling it a carry-on, because you take it with you everywhere. Once you start, it's part of who you are.
All right, let's do a segment 2 recap, the connection carry-on.
Doing relationships right isn't about perfection. It's about intention.
It's about small acts of presence stacked up like stepping stones.
It's about carrying connection with you like the one bag you can't afford to lose.
And this week's challenge is simple. Choose one relationship, take one intentional step, watch what happens.
Coming up in segment 3, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of what happens when you don't do relationships right. Because let's be honest, we've all had times when we fumbled the carry-on.
Oh, I've got stories.
Yes, you do. Stick around, Aging Heroes. The trip's just getting interesting.
All right, Aging Heroes. We've been talking about doing relationships right, but let's be real. Sometimes the zipper busts. Sometimes the cooler leaks.
My God.
Sometimes your emotional carry-on rolls off the conveyor belt, cracks wide open, and all your dirty laundry, literal or otherwise, goes spinning out for the world to see.
You mean like that time your bag split in Miami and your underwear got a standing ovation from gate C25?
Baby, they were special underwear.
The Spidey ones. Oops, we just said that out loud.
Okay, but today we're not talking Samsonite malfunctions.
No.
We're talking about the relational ones. When we don't do relationships right, when we mess up, when trust wobbles, when silence sets in like bad weather.
Because here's the truth. Nobody, and I mean nobody, gets this perfect. We all blow it, even after decades of practice, even after writing books and recording podcasts about it. We've both had our moments, yeah?
Yes, plenty of them. Like that fight the night before our Costa Rica trip. The one that started literally over nothing, spiraled into something, and ended with both of us lying in bed like stubborn teenagers staring at opposite walls.
I can laugh now. But at the time, it felt like our connection had gone completely offline. Like the Wi-Fi bars disappeared and no amount of refreshing was going to bring them back.
And it wasn't just us. Think about friendships that fizzle, family ties that fray, colleagues who ghost. We all know what it feels like when connection breaks down.
On an island, when a boat breaks down, people notice. Everyone on shore sees it. Everyone on the water hears about it. And sooner or later, everyone gets involved. Patching, towing, bailing water, offering advice, whether you want it or not.
It's true. In the boat community, everybody throws in.
Absolutely.
But in life, when relationships break down, we often pretend nothing's wrong. We hide it. We avoid it. We post smiling pictures while our boat is sinking below the surface.
The problem is unacknowledged breakdowns don't just fix themselves. They get worse. Silence deepens, resentment grows barnacles. The boat starts drifting further and further from shore.
Doing relationships right doesn't mean you'll never have breakdowns. It means you face them when they come.
You need to name the cracks. You show up with duct tape, humility, and maybe even a little humor.
I'll tell on myself here. Years ago, I missed one of Erica's important races. I thought I had a good excuse. Work, deadlines, all the usual suspects. But the truth is, I didn't prioritize her. And when I showed up late, frazzled and apologetic, she smiled politely, but I could see it in her eyes. I'd blown it.
I wasn't mad, but I was hurt. And there's a difference. Mad can blow over, but hurt, that lingers. Hurt whispers, maybe I don't matter as much to you.
And that's when I realized doing relationships wrong isn't about one missed event. It's about what that miss communicates.
Yeah.
Relationships thrive on presence, and absence leaves a dent.
We repaired it, sure, but it took conversation, owning it, rebuilding trust. It reminded us both that relationships need tending, just like boats need constant maintenance.
And we do mean constant. How do you know when the carry-on has split open? Here are a few signs. You're avoiding conversations instead of having them. You're assuming instead of asking. You're keeping score instead of forgiving.
That's a biggie.
You're present in body, but absent in heart.
And here's the kicker. Most of the time, it's not the big betrayal moments that sink the ship. It's the small neglects, the everyday dismissals, the I'll call later that just never comes.
Relationships don't fail all at once. They erode one tide at a time.
Which is why catching the cracks early, that matters. A little repair today will keep you from sinking tomorrow.
Let me put it this way. You wouldn't leave your cooler lid open in seagull territory, right?
Well, unless you want to come back to a picnic crime scene.
Exactly.
Maybe, yeah.
Same thing with relationships. If you leave them untended, neglect will swoop in and pick them clean.
Doing relationships right means vigilance, means attention, and a sense of humor, because let's be real, some of the cracks are just friggin' ridiculous.
Like arguing over who left the sunscreen open when the real issue is you're both exhausted.
That's right. Or blowing up about who forgot to grab milk when what you actually need is a hug.
That's the beauty of humor. It's relational duct tape.
I like that.
It doesn't fix everything, but it holds things together until you can make a real repair.
Okay, here's the good news. Fumbling relationships isn't failure. It's invitation. Think of it that way. Every mistake, every crack, every missed connection is a chance to practice grace.
It's a chance to say, I'm sorry. To say, I still choose you. To say, let's laugh about this instead of letting it break us.
Some of our strongest bonds come from the times we nearly lost them, the near misses, the almost goodbyes, the nights when we fought and in the morning we chose to stay.
And that's where the real growth happens. Not in avoiding conflict, but in repairing it. Not in dropping the ball, but in picking it back up.
Let's take a moment again here and we'll recap it. So here's what we've unpacked. Doing relationships wrong, that's inevitable. We all fumble. We all drift. We all forget the races and the milk.
But the real test isn't whether you blow it. It's whether you repair it. Whether you name the crack, patch the boat, and keep on paddling.
Doing relationships right means embracing the breakdowns as part of the journey.
Because the carry-on will split open. The question is, what do you do with the mess?
Coming up in segment 4, we're going to zoom out. We'll look at the big picture, what thriving relationships give us over the long haul, why they matter for our health, our joy, and even our legacy.
And we'll toast the people who've carried us, patched us, and laughed with us along the way.
Stick around, aging heroes. We're not done boarding yet.
All right, aging heroes, we've raced down highways, missed flights, cried at counters, and told on ourselves about the ways we fumble relationships. And here we are, final segment, time to take it home.
It's time to raise a glass, everybody, because this whole episode has been about connection, the messy, miraculous, sometimes maddening glue that holds our lives together.
So let's talk about why it matters.
Yeah.
Not just in the moment,
Right?
not just at the gate, but over the long haul. Why doing relationships right is worth every ounce of work, forgiveness, and patience it takes.
Research tells us that strong relationships are the number one predictor of happiness. Not money, not success, not even health in the narrow sense. Relationships.
A Harvard study that followed people for decades found the same thing. The happiest, healthiest folks were the ones with good relationships, not perfect relationships, just solid, steady, forgiving ones.
And that makes sense because when you strip it all down, what do we really remember at the end? Not the deadlines, not the awards, the people, the faces, the hands we held.
I can still remember my grandmother's laugh more vividly than most of my college lectures.
Well, that says more about your study habits than her laugh.
Fair enough.
Here's the thing. Islands teach us something about connection. On an island, nobody survives alone. You share food, you share boats, you share stories. If somebody's roof blew off in a storm, the neighbors are up there with hammers before the rain clears.
And if your cooler tips over, you better believe 10 people will help you clean up. Not because they love you that much, though some of them do, but because next time it'll be their cooler.
It's interdependence, the recognition that your life, it's woven with mine.
And that's what doing relationships right looks like. Living as if your survival and your joy are linked with the people around you, because they are.
All right, our journey recap. Let's rewind for a second. You ready?
Sure.
Our Costa Rica story wasn't just about missed flights. No, it was about how connection carried us through chaos. The gate agent's wink. See how I perked up when I said that?
I did notice that, yeah.
The stranger's kindness, the choice we made to laugh instead of unravel.
Then we dug into what it actually looks like to do relationships right. Presence, intention, grace, humor, the small acts that add up to deep trust.
And in segment 2, we gave you an Aging Heroes challenge. Your connection carry on. One relationship, one intentional act, one chance to strengthen that bond that keeps you alive and thriving.
Segment 3 showed us the other side, the breakdowns, the missed races, the silent nights, the ways we fumble, and the reminder that repair, not perfection, is the real marker of a strong relationship.
And now, here we are, wrapping it all up with the reminder that over the long haul, relationships are what make life rich. They're what we'll remember. They're what will carry us when nothing else can.
So here's what I want to do.
Okay?
Let's raise a glass, not just to each other, but to everyone listening.
It's the connection toast.
To every partner,
Yeah.
friend, child, grandchild, neighbor, clerk, gate agent, except for that one, and stranger who has carried us through the chaos.
Here's to the people who've made us laugh when we wanted to cry.
Here's to the people who forgave us when we blew it.
Here's to the ones who showed up when maybe we didn't deserve it.
Here's to doing relationships right, not perfectly, but persistently.
May we never travel without our connection carry on. May we never miss the miracle that comes in the form of another human being. And may we always have enough snacks to share at the gate.
For sure.
If this episode hit your heart, if it spoke to you, share it. Text a friend, tag us, and go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Aging Heroes. You can also find our full tribe at www.agingheroes.com.
Coming up next on the Latitude Adjustment, we're taking the spirit of connection and turning it outward. All right, coming up next on the Latitude Adjustment, we're taking the spirit of connection and turning it outward. Our next episode is called Establish Intimacy.
Ooh, that's a juicy one.
We'll talk about closeness, vulnerability, and the deep connection that comes from showing up fully, even when it's awkward, especially when it's awkward.
So grab your heart, your honesty, and maybe a little rum to quiet the nerves. We're going to go deep, and we'll meet you there.
See you next time, folks.